This is the last video of the Graiguenamanagh walk and trail, or whatever you want to call it. I've had a good walk around Graiguenamanagh. I've had a good look at the history. Such a small village, folks. Absolutely stunning history, stunning architecture, and great preservation of buildings. I mean, Dublin wouldn't be ashamed of itself with the buildings we've gotten rid of. If you come down and have a look at the buildings here, going back to the 1200s and so on and so forth. And I'll tell you, I've stopped here up the top. It's a good walk up. But what I want to talk to you about is the Great Chicago Fire of 1871. And you're going to say, what's that got to do with Graiguenamanagh? But I'm going to give you a little quick insight about it. The Great Fire of Chicago was on the 8th of October 1871 until the 10th of October 1871. And it destroyed Chicago. It destroyed 3.3 square miles of Chicago, 17,000 structures, and more than 100,000 residents were left homeless. And unfortunately, there was deaths occurred in it as well. So we had 300 deaths, estimated 300 deaths. What had that got to do with us? Well, believe it or not, it was said, I was reputed to have said, but she did get in the clear later on, that Mrs. O'Leary from Graiguenamanagh started the fire when she was milking her cow out in the back garden, in the back shed, and she knocked on the cow, stepped back, and it kicked the lantern, which started the fire in the hay, which she couldn't control and put out. Hence, the Great Fire of Chicago of 1871. And that woman came from here. Originally, she's not from here. Her husband's from Cork and stuff like that, but she came from here. She emigrated from here to America. And she lived here it's called Bachelor's Walk, it's not Bachelor's Walk anymore, as you can see by the video. It was small dwellings of 15 cabins, they call it, but 15 small dwellings. There's a few of them left behind us, and they're there since the early 1800s. To the mid 1800s, she emigrated over to America and lived in Chicago. And it's even to this day that family have been persecuted. Here's the O'Learys. You can imagine what the stories are. We won't go into that. But there is an article in, I think it's the Chicago Tribune, I was reading up on, and their family in I think it's 2012, in around 2012, they had a hearing, and they had their name cleared, because a lad did come forward a couple of years later after, and he said that he started the fire. There wasn't Mrs. O'Leary at all. And what he said was he was running from a card game. He ran through the back of her dwelling, where the cow was, kicked over the lantern, started the fire, but in a panic he kept running because he was afraid of being caught for gambling. So it wasn't really Mrs. O'Leary, let's put it that way. So Mrs. O'Leary, she's in the clear as far as we're concerned. But I'm going to put a link at the bottom of the page that you can click on, and it goes to the newspaper in Chicago, and the whole story's on that, all about our family that are still living there to this day, folks. Still living to this day and still living it up. You know what I mean? Still living with that stigma, which can be terrible. But at the end of I suppose at the end of the day, it is a story. It's heritage, and I just wanted to share that with you. That's the last story I have of today, folks, of this one. So if you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can come back and see us again anytime I upload. Thanks very much for your support. I hope you enjoyed this series, and I look forward to the next one. Okay, take care.